Vivekananda was once asked, is there anything worse than losing eyesight? Vivekananda replied, not having a vision is worse than not having eyesight. Often some people attempt to write poetry. What they actually write is rhymes. When the end of the lines rhyme with each other, it's called a rhyme. When the meaning behind those lines are much deeper than what is written in the line, it is called a poetry. When you not only have to read what is written, which is in a rhyme, but you also sit and think about the possibilities which the poet wants to say, where people can debate about what is being said. When in the same thing people have multiple perspectives, when there are many layers of meaning in those few lines, it becomes poetry. What is the difference between great prose and poetry? In a great prose, the rhyme aspect is missing. For example, when I write, and if I write at the end, inspire or expire. Now we can debate on that for an entire life lesson, whether it is appropriate, not appropriate, what it can mean. Is it relevant to all? When does it become relevant to some? And we can debate on it. That means it's a good line. It is instigating the mind to think and go deeper than what is available. So is the case with poetry. So when Robert Frost writes, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have many promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. At the surface level looks like ये बेचारा थका हुआ है, लेकिन फिर भी उसको बहुत दूर जाने का है. और शायद बीवी ने डांट के भेजा है कि बीच में कहीं रुकना मत, सीधा घर आना. That's why he says the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. उसको बोला है कि हाँ मैं एकदम अच्छा रहूंगा और कहीं रुकने वाला नहीं. For all that that is what Robert Frost went through. But then people like you and me read about it, and we might link it to the potential of a human being. Do not get carried away by momentary achievements. All goals in your life are to be achieved, and then you have to move on. All success in your life is temporary, it's not permanent. Like for 2 months, I was jogging fantastically as per a plan. And then we had the youth summit and a couple of marriages to attend. So for about 20-25 days, my exercise was not as regular as I would otherwise do. And in 25 days, my fitness level dropped by almost 20%. Which means the fitness level that I achieved was temporary. If I don't keep working on it, I lose it. So which means the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have many promises to keep. अभी तो बहुत आगे जाना है. Therefore, let me not get carried away by what I have achieved. Let me keep moving. Now maybe this is what Robert Frost meant. Now we can discuss about who was Robert Frost or who was the traveler. Was the traveler a warrior? then the promises to keep would be different. Was he a scholar, a teacher? Then the promises to keep would be different. And like this, we can debate. If the traveler was a mother, then maybe the promises to be kept would be different. So, just in a few lines, it can have potential of conversation for hours together. That is what poetry can be. There are times when parents have asked me, what quality conversation to have with children? सब ठीक है? हाँ ठीक है. कुछ चाहिए? नहीं कुछ नहीं चाहिए. बेटा कोई शिकायत मम्मी पापा से? नहीं कोई शिकायत नहीं. आपके फ्रेंड्स सब अच्छे हैं? हाँ अच्छे हैं. बोले इससे आगे बात क्या करूं? 1 मिनट में तो खत्म हो जाता. Pick up any line like this and you can make the kids fantasize. Ask the kids, if this was a father who has to travel for 20 days in a month to ensure he earns enough for the family, when he is seeing something very beautiful and he would like to sit there and watch, but then he remembers, नहीं यार आगे जाना है, किसी और को मिलना है ताकि 2 पैसे कमाऊं. Would these lines be applicable? If yes, how? If no, why not? And you instigate the child to imagine something which it would normally not imagine. And you are developing the intellect of your child. We don't develop the intellect of the child by telling the child do's and don'ts. We develop the intellect of the child by making them explore possibilities. क्या लगता है आपको? And you are developing the intellect of the child. अच्छा ऐसा हो सकता है क्या? And you are developing the intellect of the child. ये आपने जो बोला ये आपको कैसे समझ में आया मेरे को समझाओ. And you are developing the intellect of the child. So is the case with your team. When you're sitting in a team meeting, one thing is to tell them, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Then they're always dependent on you and me. On the other hand, we ask them, ये करना है, let's brainstorm. क्या करना चाहिए? In psychology, there is an extremely powerful concept. And I have consciously attempted to live with this powerful concept. And this concept is called a beginner's mind. A beginner's mind. There is a beginner, there is an advanced, and then there is a master. A master means there is nothing left to teach. Ramakrishna Paramahansa is a master. Dattatreya is a master. Maybe Kabir is a master. Master means अब मैं क्या सिखाऊंगा इनको? And then there is a beginner. What does a beginner's mind mean? Listen carefully. A beginner's mind means I have understood one perspective. मेरी जो thinking है वो एक perspective है. But the human mind cannot perceive all the perspectives. I cannot see the way a mother sees. I cannot see how a 75-year-old grandfather looks at life, looks at disease. Or looks at, am I dependent on my children for money and the feeling? I don't know. Because I've never been there. I can guess. But I will definitely miss. I cannot see the pain of a teacher who every day sits in front of the computer or the laptop for 4-5 hours, and the cameras are switched off of the students. And she's teaching history or geography or maths, and she's teaching with a lot of rigor. But she has no idea whether the children are learning or not. Because she can't even see the children. And if she's to do it again and again, and then parents say, yaar, online mein to kuch bachcha seekh hi nahi raha hai. Or if the parents are saying, yaar, online mein to mera bachcha distracted ho jata hai, the teacher is not able to engage everybody. Or some parents would say, ek baar wapas sikhao na. And it's the children who are absent. What goes inside the mind of the teacher? How does she look at her work or the children or COVID or the laptop? शायद समझेगा ही नहीं. Which means when I enter into a conversation, I can pretend to be my master, or I can go with the beginner's mind. क्या मेरे को एक चीज समझाए, लेकिन इसमें बहुत कुछ होगा जो मेरे को नहीं समझ में है. Then when you are whether you are relating to your children, or you are relating to adults, or you are relating to your colleague, you will find that there is a huge depth in your personality and respect for the other people's opinion and openness to become better and understand things in a deeper way. One proof of that is when you don't interrupt anybody when they are talking. One proof of a beginner's mind is when you can nod your head to what is being said, because you can see something which you were not able to see earlier. Now look at Sharma ji, how he listens. He is such an encouraging listener who will keep listening like, this is interesting. This is good. This is right. This makes a lot of sense. You know, the head keeps on nodding like this. Kuldeep has just begun to do that. You know, that's a very beautiful beginner's mind. And your ability to grasp things is super high when you have the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind does not mean you feel like an idiot and you think, mere ko to kuch aata hi nahi. That's a judgment. A beginner's mind says, I want to learn. A low self-esteem says, mere ko kuch nahi malum. So beginner's mind fills you with excitement. कि अभी देखा, I am going to become better. A judged mind, I am not good enough, makes us have a little sympathy or makes us feel a little low. When you read poetry, when you read prose, when you are with children, when you are with colleagues, when you are with your boss, when you are with a customer, have that beginner's mind. And all of you keep nodding every now and then. सुनाई भी दे रहा है ना, तो ऐसे ऐसे करते रहने का. ऐसे नहीं करने का. अगर थोड़ा डिसएग्रीमेंट है तो ऐसे करने का. ऐसे नहीं करने का. You will enjoy poetry. You will enjoy a movie. You will enjoy marriage. You will enjoy difference of opinions when you have a beginner's mind. When you have a master's mind, difference of opinion will irritate you. then you'll think इसको समझ क्यों नहीं रहा है. When you have a beginner's mind, in the same situation you're thinking, इसको कैसे समझाऊं? Your master's mind, the blame is to others. उसको नहीं समझते. When you have a beginner's mind, your responsibility is yours. मुझे सीखना है कि इसको कैसे समझाया जाए. So let's have a beginner's mind as we go deeper in today's life lesson. Since we are playing Kabir, let me share with you one doha which used to make a lot of sense to me when I was in school, and it has helped me in a very big way in my life. Now, before I speak to you about the meaning that I understood out of these words, let me share these lines with you and let us have a small discussion on what this could mean. कहे कबीर कैसे निभे केर बेर को संग, वो झूमत रस आपने उसके फाटत अंग. कुछ समझा?
रिपीट.
ओके. कहे कबीर कैसे निभे केर बेर को संग, वो झूमत रस आपनो उसके फाटत अंग. नहीं समझा? Okay, so let me. Now,
This was intentional.
When I'll explain, you will say, "Oh," मेरे को बहुत मजा आता उसमें.
मैंने इतना समझा कि मीठे बेर है, अब इसको पाना है.
So Kabir is saying, ये दोनों का निभेगा कैसे? कहे कबीर कैसे निभे. निभना मतलब मालूम? निभना नहीं मालूम? हाँ, निभना मालूम. तो थोड़ा लटकन करो ना. हाँ देवा, हाय मॉर्निंग. हाँ देवा is saying निभना नहीं मालूम मेरे को. Obviously, get along. कैसे निभे means how will these people get along, or how will they get along? Who is Kabir speaking about? Care and bear. कहे कबीर कैसे निभे केर बेर को संग. And then what does he say? क्यों नहीं निभेगा इनका? Fundamentally what Kabir is saying is इन दोनों का नहीं निभने वाला. These two will not be able to get along. Why? वो झूमत रस आपनो, वो केर का जो पेड़ होता है वो थोड़ा बड़ा होता है, और जब हवा बहती है ना तो बड़े मस्त में हिलता है वो. और बेर का जो पेड़ है, नाउ केर मीन्स व्हाट? केर इज नॉट केरी. बनाना इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड केर. So when the tree is swaying in all its masti, it meets the banana leaves and the care tree, and the banana leaves gets torn. बेर का जो पेड़ होता है उसमें थॉर्न्स बहुत होते हैं. कहे कबीर कैसे निभे केर बेर को संग. When these trees are together, वो झूमत आपस रस में उसको फाटत अंग, मतलब उसका अंग फट जाता है ना. So if my company is such where I know this person's presence may hurt me today or tomorrow. And if I still am in that company, he enjoys his life the way he lives. But his enjoyment is going to hurt me today or tomorrow. In other words, ensure you do not keep the company of people whose presence might hurt you today or tomorrow. They will enjoy it. You may get hurt. वो झूमत आपने रस में, उसको फाटत आंग. कुछ समझा? Which means, when I read this in my class 7th, from that time onwards, I have attempted to keep the company of people whose presence may not hurt me directly, indirectly, consciously or subconsciously. Now, what are the qualities you don't want in life? If there are people with those qualities, stay away as much as possible. What are the qualities you want in life? If there are people with those qualities, keep their presence in your life. If you want, what I will do is, I will write these lines and I will post it in our group. Then you can go and share it with somebody today. And actually you will understand whether you have understood or not only when you explain. Listening will never give you a true picture of whether you have understood or not. It is only explaining which will make you understand whether you have understood or not. I just went to a marriage in Indore. And in the marriage, the bridegroom was very tired. The Pandit took about 3.5 hours to get these 7 feras done. And it was hot. So the bridegroom was wearing glares, sunglasses. And the bridegroom had come home a few days ago. Bharti, out of curiosity, asked, फेरों में sunglasses क्यों पहना हुआ था? He said, एक secret बताऊं? ये बता? मेरे गले में एक माला था. वो माला मैंने पीछे बांध दिया था और मैंने ना करीब घंटे 1.5 घंटे की झपकी ले ली. बोला सच बताऊं, इतना टायर्ड था क्योंकि रात को 2-2:30 बजे खत्म हुआ. उसके बाद में सुबह से 6 बजे से वापस तैयारी हो गई, नींद नहीं हुई. और वो जो मंत्र पढ़ता था इतना बोरिंग था, मैं तो सो गया. And my reaction was also similar to yours. Only thing is I kept my mouth closed. I saw your reaction. So that was inside me. But my mouth remained closed. So next time when you see a bridegroom in his feras with the glares, you can go nudge him and say, "Mere ko malum." Over here, I don't have the beginner's mind. I have the master's mind. Sometimes events happen where the way we see it and the way we perceive it and what is actually happening is not understood. Everybody would have thought कि बड़ा strange आदमी है, glares लेके बैठा है. But actually it's a very smart move to get some sleep. It would be very awkward if he is not having it and he's sleeping like this in his own marriage, right? Some of you are nodding your head means you have done the same when you were getting married. No. Acha, theek hai. Let me change tracks a little. In your life, have you ever attempted to change in any aspect and you could not? Or did you attempt to change a few times in few different areas and you could not? Or did you attempt to change in the same area multiple times and you could not? कभी हुआ है? हुआ. Excellent. What was your insight? Why did change not happen? Where do you think we missed? What was the gap? When results don't come, we should ideally analyze. तो अगर नहीं हुआ तो what was missing? Let's say you have to take your car out because you want to go for a drive and the car does not start. You will analyze, right? You may go in another car, but you will still want to get this right. You won't keep that car as a paperweight in your garage. कि चलो कोई बात नहीं चला तो पड़ा रहना. So similarly, when change doesn't happen in areas where you want change to happen, what do you think was missing? Yes, Harshad darling?
Yeah, I think I'm not getting that humbleness or that lesser aggression.
Okay.
So I'm trying from quite a long time, but it is not coming that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I realized that habit of so many previous years, that aggression, that might be taking too much of time. That is what is expected.
Okay, fair enough. Anil?
Sometimes I feel I can go without this now. I can do it later on. So I'm not putting all my efforts into it that moment.
Okay.
Because things are still moving. So I'll take it at some later time. So all the dedication is not there towards it.
Okay. Bharti?
Wanting to do good comes naturally. So, but the other person does not need it. But I when go doing it, and there are times when it has fired back. That is a habit, as Harshad said, and थोड़ा और effort डालना पड़ेगा उसमें. थोड़ा नहीं, बहुत effort डालना पड़ेगा. When we see something, so it has to become part of it by putting lot of effort. That okay, this is the line, we should not cross this. That's it. It's okay. Thing is just have a blindfold. It's very difficult.
Okay.
Sir, the discomfort which arised out of that change, I was not able to bear. So I did not drive in with the full enthusiasm in that direction, and I failed.
Okay. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. The discomfort I felt held me back from giving my 100%. And therefore change did not happen. That's a very beautiful insight. Naresh?
In my scenario, it's few times it is different and opposite than the Sharma ji. In two aspect, actually, I started enjoying the comfort. And I left the efforts there onwards. And in few aspects, I get determined to keep doing. But later on, actually, I realized that it is not my cup of tea, or maybe मेरे को ये 7 का टेबल है वो 7 बार पढ़ना पड़ता है, तो किसी को 2 बार में ही पढ़ सकता है. तो दैट इज वेयर एक्चुअली समटाइम्स इन फ्यू एस्पेक्ट इमीडिएट में चेंज हो जाता हूँ, लेकिन फ्यू एस्पेक्ट्स में ऐसे नहीं. एक्चुअली मेरे को 20 के आगे का टेबल नहीं आता मुझे अभी. I get stuck up with certain level and I become a bottleneck in few aspects.
Okay. Kuldeep?
Yeah, there are multiple reasons. One which I would like to share is sometimes it happens when I get into something where I need to change myself. Something else take a bigger mind share, and which comes like a distraction. And
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's another very interesting point. That I might want to change some aspect, but then there are distractions. And because I get distracted, वो फिर वो रह जाता है. So there are multiple factors. One of the factors being distraction. Is that what you're saying, Kuldeep? See, Kuldeep is a company secretary. Anything that he forms, there are always multiple clauses. So that's why his mind is tuned to seeing things. Understanding एक line तो होगा नहीं, एक single चीज तो होगा नहीं, बहुत सारे clauses होगा. Today let's discuss the formula for change. Think about times when you wanted to change something and you actually could bring about a change. There are two ways to understand anything. One is when I failed, and the other is when I succeeded. When I failed, I'll understand what went wrong or what is the gap. When I succeeded, I'll understand what went right and how a gap was bridged. When I look at anything from two perspectives, I get a much more holistic view. So when did I want to change but I could not change is what we discussed right now. Shafi has been wanting to be focused on fitness, but in spite of her many initiatives, nahi ho raha hai. She also wanted to be regular in meditation, and she has become regular in meditation. So which means something is happening in meditation which goes going in the right lines. And that same thing is probably not happening over here in exercise. When I understand myself keeping both these in mind, I might be able to understand what brings change within me and what stops change within me or around me. What is the formula for change? Let's discuss that so that maybe we will understand today if there are areas where change is not happening, what is missing? Would I like to bridge that gap? Or I don't like this formula in some aspects of my life, so it's okay if I don't change them. If I have a desire to change and I don't change, it makes me incomplete. If I understand change over here is not my cup of tea, I accept it and I focus on the right aspects of life. So let's go deeper. All change begins with intense dissatisfaction. My dissatisfaction has to be of the highest order for change to happen. If my dissatisfaction with status quo, with the present, is weak or meek, then I have a desire to change, a mild desire to change, but that mild desire does not have enough power. So how dissatisfied am I with the current scenario in area where I want to change? Now, to do this exercise properly or to understand this properly, take up any one aspect of your life, one aspect of life where you would really want to change. Let's do theory and practicals together. Take a minute or two to think about any one aspect where you really want to change. Where your dissatisfaction makes you very uncomfortable. Where you are not able to accept the current status quo. Like Shafi may not have health issues. She may not have seen people around her with tremendous health issues. So she has a desire to be fitter, but she's not dissatisfied with her fitness. She knows she can be fitter, but अगर नहीं भी हुआ तो इतनी तकलीफ नहीं, dissatisfaction नहीं. So it's almost like if I have a Mercedes Benz, it's good. If I don't have it, my I-20 is also okay. If I can go on a holiday, it's good. नहीं भी है, चार अच्छे दोस्त बैठ के गप्पा मारेंगे ना, it's like a holiday only. If I can go out and have food, मजा आएगा. नहीं तो घर में वो थेपला है ना तो भी चल जाएगा. So dissatisfaction is not intense. जहां dissatisfaction intense नहीं है ना, वहां acceptance बहुत जल्दी आ जाता है. And since we anyway are packed and we don't have hours doing nothing, we have a tendency to believe यार ऐसे में भी टाइम नहीं है, उतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, अभी बहुत कुछ करने को, ये प्रोजेक्ट एक बार कंप्लीट हो जाए फिर देखेंगे. Like in the month of December, it is always like next year से अपन एक्सरसाइज के बारे में सोचेंगे. अभी तो दिसंबर हो ही गया ना, 2021 से सोचते हैं. You go to any gym owner and ask them how many people take membership in December. जनवरी से करेंगे, जनवरी से. Dissatisfaction नहीं. So the beginning of any change is dissatisfaction. Now dissatisfaction can be for two reasons. Reason number one, you are going through pain. Reason number two, you are lacking excitement. You are going through pain में एक negative scene है. You are lacking excitement में positive possibility है. So let's say Kuldeep's life is good. His fitness is very nice. He can play badminton for hours altogether. He is very chilled with his fitness. Can he become better? Of course he can become better. But वो dissatisfaction नहीं. Now imagine, on the other hand, his knees start paining. And doctors say that unless you drop 20 kgs, you will not be able to play badminton because you play badminton very well. It impacts your knees tremendously. तुम 20 किलो वजन कम करोगे ना तो अगले 40 साल तुम बहुत अच्छे से खेल सकोगे. He goes to the badminton court, puts all those kneecaps. लेकिन वो मूवमेंट नहीं हो पा रहा है, बॉडी नहीं जा रहा है. Subconsciously it holds him back and he becomes dissatisfied. ये क्या है? एक महीना पहले ये सब शॉर्ट्स में इजीली ले सकता था, अभी नहीं ले रहा हूं. अगर डिससैटिस्फैक्शन हो गया, पेन है, then he might say enough is enough. Alternatively, कोई नी का इशू नहीं, बट he has a desire कि यार एक बार ना स्टेट लेवल का बैडमिंटन खेलने या ऑल इंडिया कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज एसोसिएशन में ना एक बैडमिंटन टूर्नामेंट रखने का और उसमें मेरे को ही जीतने का. और वहां कुछ लोग हैं, वो भी धुरंधर लोग हैं, उनसे अगर कॉम्पीट करके जीतने का है ना, मैं अगर खेला तो सिर्फ मस्ती के लिए नहीं खेलने का, जीतने के लिए खेलने का, तो मेरे को फिटनेस लेवल को नेक्स्ट लेवल में लेके जाना पड़ेगा. आज कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, but there is a huge longing for something, a very beautiful, positive possibility, which in turn creates dissatisfaction in the status quo. तकलीफ कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन वहां जाना है. Like Bharti's health was never an issue. But when she decided to go to Everest base camp, कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, घुटने उठने सब ठीक है, कमर उमर सब ठीक है, मतलब कोई तकलीफ नहीं. मगर ईबीसी का एक ड्रीम है, वेरी पावरफुल पॉजिटिव पॉसिबिलिटी. अब वो रोज को 2.5 घंटा 3 घंटा 4 घंटा रोज वॉकिंग कर रही है, बिकॉज शी वांट्स टू गेट रेडी फॉर ईबीसी. The mind has already seen herself completing EBC. The body just has to follow. Mentally, she's already done that. Therefore, the body now cooperates. So, either because I'm very frustrated with my present, क्योंकि कोई तकलीफ है, or because there is an exciting possibility about the future, therefore there is intense dissatisfaction. दोनों में से एक तो चाहिए, या तो tremendous pain या tremendous possible pleasure. दोनों में से एक चाहिए. So it begins with intense dissatisfaction. Let's say there is a homemaker over here. Let's say Monica is here. And let's say, this is just an example, Monica wants 10,000 rupees to buy something. And Monica's husband, who loves her intensely, says, इतना पैसा नहीं है, इसकी जरूरत क्या है? Now that irritates her because when he wanted to buy a new phone, though the old phone was working, फटाक से जाके 70,000 का फोन लेके आ गया. मेरे को इधर 10,000 रुपया चाहिए, उसके लिए एक इंक्वायरी कमीशन. Now she becomes intensely dissatisfied with this and says, I want to have financial independence. मेरा जितना पर्सनल खर्चा है, Whether it's to go to a parlor or to go out for lunch with friends, or I want to go on holidays where I go with my girls or with my school friends. मैं किसी से पैसा नहीं मांगेगी. अभी उसके लाइफ स्टडी है, फाइनेंशियली सब ठीक ठाक चल रहा है, घर खर्चा वगैरह में प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता है, बच्चों की पढ़ाई लिखाई में प्रॉब्लम नहीं आता, सब अच्छा चल रहा है. मगर इंटेंस डिससैटिस्फैक्शन कि मेरे को क्यों मना किया. मैं फालतू का पैसा तो उड़ाती नहीं हूं, इधर उधर तो फेंकती नहीं हूं, 100 रुपए का चीज 125 में तो लेके नहीं आती हूं. फिर पूछा क्यों. Intense dissatisfaction, and then now she will start searching for how is it that I can become economically independent. मेरे को महीने का 50,000 रुपए कमाने का. Change, which some of you so beautifully said, requires effort. Change requires effort, and I will be able to sustain the effort as long as required, which Kuldeep was saying, without getting distracted when there is intense dissatisfaction. Misha gets pregnant, Misha delivers a child, Ara comes into this world. And let's say 4 months down the line, Misha looks at herself in the mirror, finds that baby bump is still there. Now she is fitter than the world, she's fitter than many moms around. She has not put on 20 kgs, which has not been shed post-delivery. But she looks at that bump and she can't imagine herself as a kangaroo with that pouch. And she says, "Ye kya hai? Misha, what are you doing with yourself? Before you were pregnant, you could run 20 kilometers like this. Now you can't run for 2 kilometers. What's going on?" She asks her husband, "Swapnil, I'm not looking good. I'm looking very odd and awkward, right?" Swapnil says, "You are looking very beautiful. Don't bother. It happens to everybody." But she's intensely dissatisfied. And she starts a regimen. And in 6 months' time, that bump is gone, the pace is back. Because that intense dissatisfaction was there. If you are not able to bring a change in areas where you think you would like to change, it may be because the intense dissatisfaction does not exist. You have a desire, but it's not an intense desire yet. The pain or the pleasure is not as intense as is required. वो गाड़ी ऑन करने के लिए चाबी घुमाना पड़ता है ना. गाड़ी को चलाने के लिए एक्सीलेटर लगेगा. अब तुमको बार बार चाबी नहीं ऑन करना है. लेकिन वो चाबी घुमाने का जो एफर्ट होता है ना, that is equal to intense dissatisfaction. So wherever you want to bring a change, either there has to be this intensity because of a negative or because of a positive. Both is okay. Both are equally good. Misha's health was absolutely okay. मतलब कोई problem नहीं. 90% people in the world cannot run 2 kilometers. But she wanted to be in the top 10% and not 90%. What is positive? Bharti is a drawing teacher. She used to get many students. She would send the students for elementary exams. And then one day in one college, one teacher who would always recommend, because Bharti is not a certified diploma holder or a degree holder, they asked for 1,500 rupees for a 100 rupee form. For what? I will sign and give, I need 1,500 rupees. भाती said, यार दोस्ती यारी में मैं बच्चे को भेज रही हूँ, तू साइन करके दे देना, इसमें पैसे का क्या है? मैं तो बच्चे से 6 महीने का भी 1,500 नहीं लेती है, और यहाँ एक साइन के लिए 1,500. नहीं 1,500 करना है तो करो, नहीं तो छोड़ दो. तो आप तो मैं अपने बच्चे को अपने आप ही भेजूंगा. मेरे को किसी के ऊपर वर्ल्ड में डिपेंडेंट नहीं रहने का. मेरे को कोर्स करने का है ना, डिप्लोमा करने का है ना. एट द एज ऑफ 43-44 आई हैव टू गो बैक टू कॉलेज ना. 2 साल का कोर्स ही तो करना है. ठीक है, मैं 2 साल का कोर्स करेगी, लेकिन 100 रुपए का 1,500 नहीं देगी. इंटेंस डिससैटिस्फैक्शन प्लस ऑल्सो ब्यूटिफुल थिंग. अगले बार से ना मेरे बच्चों को कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं. हाउ ब्यूटिफुल इट विल बी if I can recommend and sign and say, yes, this child, please give them the form for the immediate exams or the elementary. Now in this scenario, she had both. She had an intense dissatisfaction which is negative, कि फालतू का लूट मचा हुआ है, और मना कर दिया dissatisfaction, मतलब disrespect के साथ में. ये कैसे चलेगा? And then lifelong I'll be free. I can send as many children as I want. My children will not have to go. So this is a very powerful thing. How she could have been neutral? She could have sent the children saying, उनके पास से आप कर लो, जो भी उनका हिसाब किताब है आप देख लो. But being a passionate teacher, the future of her children over there caused intense dissatisfaction in both ways, the negative and a positive way. So she could travel for 25 kilometers every day for a couple of years, leave home around 8-8:30 in the evening, come back around 4-4:30. लाइफ में पैसे का तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, सब चीज अच्छे से चल रहा है. चल जाता था भाई, जिसको पढ़ना है 1,500 दे देगा. But that is only possible when intense dissatisfaction is not there. Intense dissatisfaction is there. 2 साल का effort, and now she can send the children for the exams. Now it becomes count your blessings. अच्छा हुआ उसने 1,500 मांगा, देखो बच्चों को कितना फायदा हो रहा है. अच्छा हुआ she was rude, देखो उसे कितना अच्छा हो गया. Either something is not troubling you or something is not exciting you about the change. If it's not exciting, इतना एफर्ट नहीं डालेगा. If it's not troubling, उतना एफर्ट नहीं डालेगा. So any change begins with dissatisfaction. The smaller the change, smaller the dissatisfaction. The bigger the change you want, bigger the dissatisfaction. Imagine Mahatma Gandhi's dissatisfaction. Imagine Steve Jobs' dissatisfaction with the current operating systems equals to Windows. Without that dissatisfaction, change won't happen. Are you with me? So which means we are now talking about 2 things here. One, tremendous dissatisfaction, and 2, a very powerful vision of the future. Dissatisfaction will lead to frustrations, hurt, enmity, a gap in the heart. Let's say one of those days I say something which Deva did not like, or I say something which did not sit well with Manisha, and she is dissatisfied. Deva is dissatisfied. How can Naren say that? If dissatisfaction is not backed by a powerful vision, dissatisfaction will remain as a negative experience or negative emotion inside me. dissatisfaction by itself cannot lead to change. Dissatisfaction by itself cannot lead to change. They didn't like it, they will decide to cut relationships with Naren or make it very formal. कहीं मिलेंगे तो hello Naren, hi. But suddenly the warmth will go away. And they will continue to suffer. They will continue to hold on to that grievance. They might pretend it's okay, koi baat nahi. Lekin the joy on seeing each other will not happen, which means I'm still holding on to it. When a partner cheats me in business, when a friend does not help me when I thought they should, I can get hurt, I can get disturbed, I can get angry, I can get frustrated. This is dissatisfaction. But you need to back dissatisfaction with a powerful vision of the future. And your powerful vision in the future is much more than the pain of the present. The pleasure of that vision is greater than the pain of the present. The pleasure of the future needs to be greater than the pain of the present. Then Deva and Manisha can both think about Naren and say, Naren means a lot to me, this relationship means the world to me. I will sit and chat and I'll solve it. Because I can see a future where me and Naren are closer to each other rather than giving it up. I want to bring that intensity. Because I know those intense moments where we felt so complete. We felt we can take the whole world head on. And who knows, there may be a perspective that I am missing. Maybe he saw something that I did not see. Maybe he said something because he was disturbed by something else. And he trusted that relationship कि यार इसके ऊपर निकल गया तो कोई issue नहीं. I don't know. Let me go. Let me sort it out. If I have an issue with my father, I'll go and sort it out. If I have an issue with my brother, I'll go and sort it out. I have an issue with my father figure or my teacher or my brother, and I see that in Naren, I will sort it out. Then the effort becomes possible because there is a beautiful pleasure you are visualizing. Otherwise, you'll keep postponed. ठीक है, जिस दिन मिलेंगे, माहौल बनेगा, देखेंगे, बात कर लेंगे. Or you might think that you will outgrow the pain. Darlings, emotions are not buried dead, they are buried alive. You don't outgrow the pain, you might become numb to the pain. You don't outgrow pain. You make that part numb. You get 10 injections, it still pains you. You don't outgrow the pain. But you might take one injection and make that place numb. Then another few injections does not give you pain. We need to deal with pain. How does that happen? Only two possibilities. So when a Bharti goes on to have the diploma in fine arts, and she looks back to the person who gave her the pain, She sees how that pain has created her, made her a better person, is a blessing in the life of so many people. When she sees a very powerful positive result because of the pain, we have dealt with the pain. That is one way. That pain nurtured me into a better person. Then we don't feel the pain anymore because the pleasure is very high. The mother gives birth to the child, immense pain. But when she sees pleasure of holding the child, nurturing the child, feeling complete, now she does not remember that pain and she does not tell the child forever, 4 घंटे लगे थे तेरे को जन्म देने में. कितना चीखी थी मालूम है? I don't think any mother ever tells. ए प्रीति कभी बोलती है क्या अगस्त्य का वैसे? I don't know any mother who talks about delivery pains to the child. Why? She's got so much pleasure out of it. Later on. So Mohandas has to become Bapu. An ordinary Atma has to become a Mahatma. Then that pain seems to have a meaning in my life, a purpose in my life. It has a role in my life. When I was going through a pain, I felt like a seed which is buried. Only later on to realize the banyan tree I am is because I was buried as a seed. So when a pain leads to a beautiful positive outcome in the future, then you see meaning in that pain, sense in that pain, though it may not have been a choice. Alternatively, you have not grown so much, but you want to grow that much. And therefore you take the initiative to sort the pain out. A vision for a beautiful future where the pleasure is much greater than the pain you will have to go through in the present. Where possibility of a pleasure makes this pain insignificant. A soldier goes and fights with terrorists. The possibility of pleasure, मेरा देश बच जाएगा, makes him go through physical pains. मैं नरेंद्र से बात कर लूंगा, थोड़ा awkward हो जाएगा, शायद आंसू भी आएंगे, maybe he'll misunderstand. But I want beauty in that relationship. I don't want to lose that intensity. I know that time when I felt Naren is with me and how good and strong I felt. I want that back. Then a Monica who's not been active for 10 years also becomes active. I want that. So it begins with immense dissatisfaction. It is cemented by a beautiful vision. And then the very crucial thing is the first few steps. When the destination looks far, I have the D, the dissatisfaction, the V, the vision in place, but because the destination is far, I postpone. Because I know it will take time, I would prefer to do something which will give me instant gratification. And therefore I say, अच्छा इसमें तो 3 साल लगेगा, अगले महीने चालू करते. So therefore the third key to change becomes the first steps in the direction. The first steps is what begins the journey. It is what gives the momentum to the travel. First few steps. So can you create the first few steps? Listen very carefully. I'm not saying the first step. I'm saying the first few steps. Because many people take the first step. For example, many people take annual membership in the gym. That is the first step. It is not the first few steps. Now we will think what might be the first few steps. It may not be there going 1 month regularly. I might need things from a different direction. It can be that I will make a gym group. अगर 2-3 दिन नहीं गया, ग्रुप का फोन आना चाहिए, अरे यार 3 दिन से तेरे को देखा नहीं, चल कल मैं तेरे को पिकअप करता है. अब पिकअप के लिए कैसे मना करूं यार? अच्छा ठीक है, आ जा. So the first few steps does not mean all alone. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে. अरे the first lines are important, not you remember the last few words. তবে একলা চলো রে. अरे पहला वर्ड्स क्या है? যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে. तुम बुलाओ, कोई अगर नहीं आया तो अकेले जाना भाई. लेकिन बुला तो सही, कुछ लोगों को ला तो सही. नहीं मैं अकेला ही ठीक हूं. So it's very simple. Normally what we do is we move into one direction, single direction. Membership ले लिया, मैं जाऊंगा अकेला. But historically it is proven, whenever you act in a group, your chances of success becomes very high. It's like 3 friends are together, one friend is tired, his legs do not have strength, but the other 2 can hold him and support him. Tired legs is the metaphor for low motivation. Tired legs is a classic metaphor for distractions, low focus. So, Vikas, Kanchan, Rita, Prashant. Now, all of them would come together to life lessons. So, let's say one of those days, if Prashant is thinking, आज जाने की मन नहीं है, and Vikas Bhau's message comes, coming to pick you up at 6:20 a.m. tomorrow morning. Rita is also coming, and we'll then pick up Kanchan. Now Prashant will scratch his head. And he says, okay. अभी आ भी रहा है, अब उसको मना करो, फिर वो पूछेगा क्यों नहीं आ रहा है, मैं बोलूंगा मन नहीं है. Then Vikas will say, इसमें मन तो मनाना चाहिए, अरे यार चलते हैं. And then he comes and he's very excited, कि अरे मजा आ गया. So sometimes somewhere alone makes us lonely. So there, company makes all the difference. It's very natural. All of us will go through this. It's the way the human mind is. So therefore, the first few steps may not be willpower or preparation or even a beginning, the first few steps will include togetherness. First few steps will include togetherness. In the Hell's Week training which happens to Navy SEALs, and if you read any one of those books written by US Navy SEALs, autobiography or something, you will find that they write, full night we have to be in water which is 3 degrees, 4 degrees centigrade. And we are motivated by our instructors. Why are you suffering? Give up. We are motivated. And they will also say, you are 300 of you. And even if 10 of you give up, all the 290 will be allowed to go back to the racks. For the sake of your friends, give up. Which means they know how the human mind thinks of excuses and they're giving those excuses. Why are you suffering so much? Give up. What is the point in dying for the country? The country needs you alive. This training is useless. Give up. And in the autobiographies, the Navy SEALs would write, somebody somewhere will start singing, we shall overcome, we shall overcome. And somebody was ready to give up and he would have created a context over here. चलो अगर मैंने give up कर दिया, बाकी लोगों का तो suffering बच जाएगा ना. So he will think of it as a noble act. Where the deeper fact is he wanted to end his personal suffering. He is not able to handle it. But then there is a context to give up with which he can live the rest of his life. Why did I give up? Chalo sabki suffering band kar de yaar. And at that point of time, somebody is singing, we shall overcome. And he says, what nonsense was I thinking? Chalo 15 minutes aur. And 3-4 hours, the singing continues. A poet would say, चांद की चांदनी से कुछ नहीं होता, लेकिन उस चांदनी की उम्मीद से जिंदगी बन जाती है. Nothing in this world becomes better because of the chandni. The sun's light helps existence. Chlorophyll in the leaves, that gets converted into fruits. Oxygen is released. So it helps in existence. चांदनी से कुछ नहीं होता. थोड़ा सी टाइड आता है, थोड़ा लो टाइड होता है, हाई टाइड होता है, लेकिन कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. लेकिन चांदनी एक उम्मीद देती है कि कल रोशनी होगी. सूरज नहीं है, लेकिन थोड़ा दिख रहा है. बाहर कुछ नहीं होता है, लेकिन अंदर बहुत कुछ होता है. Which is what a group does to you. So the first few steps to all champions in the world would be to create a group around them. So what is very smart is to understand, in this change that I want to bring, what are the first few steps? So the formula for change is dissatisfaction into vision, into first few steps. This combination must be greater than resistance to change. Because any change expect resistance. For any change expect resistance. When the car has to move, there is friction. But the power in the engine has to be greater than the resistance, greater than the friction. So whenever you want to change, don't say, ab resist nahi karunga. Resistance is natural, it's bound to happen. It will happen. So dissatisfaction into vision, into first few steps must be greater than resistance to change. So dissatisfaction is intense feeling. Vision is a dream that you aspire for. And the first few steps are the supreme practical parts and action-oriented part of this equation. So which means we can create a statement which goes like, I am dissatisfied with so and so. What I want is so and so. A little better, what I crave for so and so. And the first few steps will be understand the criticality of this equation. Yesterday I was counseling someone, late night. The husband does not want to continue the marriage. The wife is not willing to give a divorce. Last 3 years, husband would have asked at least 20 times, so give me a divorce. Now, I don't like you and I don't think we should stay married. And they have a child. So I asked her, you tell me, is there a possibility of the marriage coming together in the future? मतलब तेरे को लगता है कि ये सक्सेसफुल हो सकता है? And her answer was, if he decides, it will happen. मतलब मेरे तरफ से रेसिस्टेंस नहीं है, मेरे को तो चाहिए, बट मेरे पास कंट्रोल नहीं है. It is purely on his wish. So now what will be the first few steps? Now I'll keep waiting. I'll keep hoping. Then change won't happen. I'll keep waiting, I'll keep hoping, change won't happen. And hence the first few steps. डिससेटिस्फैक्शन है उसको, हाँ है. विजन है, हाँ मेरे को अच्छा मैरिज चाहिए जहां हम लोग सब साथ में रहे, बहुत मजा आए, मेरी बेटी अपने बाप के साथ खेले. वेरी गुड. फर्स्ट फ्यू स्टेप्स नहीं, वो तो पूरा उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करता. Then you will feel pain and helpless forever. Then every day you will live with the feeling of helplessness. Chances of change happening is next to impossible. Therefore, the first few steps become critical. Critical, not just important, critical. So here is the formula for all of you. Dissatisfaction with the status quo, vision of an intense positive possibility, which is much greater than the pain in the current situation. First steps in the direction of the vision must be greater than resistance to change. I'm assuming all of you know that sign between F and R stands for greater. That sign means greater. Like the X means multiply, that lazy later hua V means greater. So if you had seen yesterday's invite, you would have seen a little more designer kind of a presentation on D into V into F must be greater than the resistance to change. क्या बोलते हो? So now you know, in any aspect of life, if you want to bring about the change, what needs to be done? You begin with the beginner's mind. Once again, I have come across a few experiences where they would say, "Bachcha मैं सुनता ही नहीं है," and I said कि अच्छा, so why are you irritated? मतलब बच्चा नहीं सुनना ये तो बहुत नॉर्मल चीज है. नहीं, मैंने सब कुछ कर लिया फिर भी नहीं सुनता. तो सब कुछ कर लिया फिर मेरे पास क्या है? Have you come to get sympathy from me कि यार बहुत बुरा हो रहा है तुम्हारे साथ? Or have you come with a beginner's mind saying मैंने कुछ उपाय किए थे लेकिन नहीं हुआ, there must be something I am missing. So most parents, when they come with the issue of the child, they are saying तुम बच्चे को समझाओ. And I tell them, I don't counsel children, I only counsel parents. I can't improve the seed, I can change the soil. So tell me any one aspect of life where you will apply this formula. Tell me one aspect of your life, any one aspect of life. Shafi fitness, oi hoy. ठीक है, I have some good news for you then. I have some good news. Vipul is saying profession. In profession what? Me too, fitness. Okay. Procrastination. Procrastination about what? Where do we procrastinate? Food? Lunchtime procrastinate? नहीं ना, प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट कहाँ करते हो? हर जगह नहीं करते होगे. बीवी ने आवाज दिया तो प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट थोड़ा ना करते हो. तुरंत यस सर और यस मैम. वर्क में किधर? इट्स टू वाइड. Work mein what? Creating a presentation, taking a class, getting ready for future. Kidhar? Be specific. It's too general. Anand is saying profitability in business. I like it. Aradhana fitness. Fitness. अरे कितने लोग को fitness चाहिए? Okay. If you use your legs enough, you will become fit. So for fitness आना चाहिए. That was really bad. That was really bad. Incredibly bad. Anu, fitness, fitness, my good Lord, fitness, irritation and temper control. Okay. On whom? On kids? On husband? Mother, father, mother-in-law, father-in-law, maid? On Joe, Naren? I talk with peace in mind. I assume this is with colleagues. Feet more. Getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I like it when somebody is very specific. Getting up at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. अरे मेरी माँ 5:30 a.m. तो morning ही होगा. It's almost like telling somebody I have a headache in my head here. I can get up at 5:30 a.m. as long as I can sleep at 5:40 again. Have you read a book called The 5 a.m. Club? It's a very beautiful concept, very beautiful idea called the 5 a.m. Club. It says, look at any great person on this planet and you will realize they rise before the sunrise. And they are all 5 a.m. people. So there's an unofficial 5 a.m. club in the world. So start getting up at 5 a.m. and see how your life changes. Deva might say, but Naren, I have work in the night, so normally I sleep at 4 a.m. It's a truth. All great people wake up early in the morning.